You see what we got going on. I ain't really got to say too much. In this video, what we're going to be doing is a clean taper, clean lineup, show you how to properly apply enhancements, and we're going to get my man right. So let's get into it. Sometimes the simplest haircuts can be the most difficult, and that's why in today's video, I'm going to walk you through how I did this undercut with the taper and apply enhancements. A lot of times the quality of the haircut is all in the prep work, right? So taking the time out at the beginning to comb the hair through, make sure you have it nice, picked or combed out, is going to set you up for success because you're not going to be fighting against the hair. It's going to allow the clippers to glide right through. So all I'm doing is separating the hair from the braids. You want to make sure you don't cut the braid hair and getting it ready to cut down. And again, this is technically an undercut because we're just cutting the hair under the braids, right? So we're going to grab our one guard with the lever open and we're going with the grain of the hair. I started off with the one guard open just to be safe because I wasn't too sure how it was going to look considering, you know, the texture and color of his hair is pretty light. So I went in with the one open and realized right away that I'm going to go a little closer. So I closed that one guard. And I'm going to continue to knock it down. And the reason I'm going with the grain is because specifically at the top of this undercut, I want to make sure that I keep it nice and smooth down. You could go against, right? You could get a 1.5 and just go against all of this. But I wanted to be sure to keep the front line up as full as possible. And going with the grain helps with that. Also, what going with the grain of the hair does, and also if you don't know what with the grain means, all that means is I'm going downwards, right? I'm not coming up against it, I'm going down with it. It's really all it means. But another reason I did the with the grain instead of against the grain coming up is because it's gonna keep the hair darker. Even though this is an undercut and I want to make sure it lasts, I want to keep this as dark as I can. So there's some gradients in the taper and so the lineup pops. So for the lineup front taper, I'm also knocking that down to the one guard open. So I didn't go closed on the hairline, I kept that a little darker. Now, all we're going to be doing is establishing our bald line and getting ready to do our taper. So we're establishing this line at the end of the eyebrow and where the ear connects to the head. And you'll notice I gave it kind of a round shape. This is going to help keep the edges dark, so when I come in and line it all up, it really pops. Now this taper is going to be fairly easy because we're not blending into a lot of length. Realistically, all we're blending into is about a 1.5 or a 2, so it's going to take us about 2 to 3 steps to blend out this taper, if that. But then I followed it up with the shaver just to get that bald part a little closer to the skin. Now what we're going to do, as opposed to coming in with the lever open right away, is I'm going to open up my lever notch by notch, and all that means is the lever on the side of the clipper, I'm opening it up every time I get higher into this taper. So I came in closed on the bald line, then I went 1/4 of the way, halfway, and then all the way open. And realistically, all I'm doing is getting rid of the line as I put it in, as opposed to putting in the guideline and getting rid of the line in between after. I just found it blends a lot cleaner and looks better. Now after we complete that step, we're going to grab our one guard closed, and kind of the same idea, I'm trying to get rid of the line as I move up. So instead of coming in open and then closing it, I came in closed, went up a little bit, and then opened it up all the way and went up a little higher. And as you can see, it's pretty much blending into the length that we knocked down the sides to. But now I'm just going to rake down with the lever open. This is a technique that helps lay the hair down while blending. Yo, real quick, are you a barber who feels like everyone's barber business is growing but yours? Right, your haircuts aren't where you want them to be and getting clients seems impossible. Well, I want to help you get unstuck, and that's why I created the Better Barber Blueprint. So you can leverage my experience and go from struggling barber to booked and busy in the shortest amount of time. This is a blueprint designed to help level up your skill set, attract more clients, and leverage content to create more income. Inside this community, we combine next level haircutting and content creation so you can grow behind the chair and potentially beyond it. So what all exactly do we learn inside this community? I go over my exact haircutting system called the Build and Blend Framework to achieve high quality haircuts in an efficient manner, as well as proven clientele building strategies to turn strangers into clients. And I give you my exact content system that has helped me grow my YouTube channel and my social media presence, called the Post More, Make More framework. And if that wasn't enough, you also get direct access to myself where you can ask any questions you may have and give feedback on your haircuts as well as content. So if you're ready to unlock the secrets to growing your barber business, tap the link in the description and let's grow today. And you can see how easily we really did that side taper. I didn't even need the half guard. Now we're gonna get into the neck taper. Now with the neck taper, again, we're gonna begin by establishing our bald line. And we just set in that line really in line with the bottom of the earlobe. And I went straight across. A lot of barbers like to exaggerate, this bald line and give it a nice curve. But personally, as you can see, the line kind of curves naturally due to the shape of the neck. So I just establish it straight across, and that usually does the job for me. Now we're gonna follow it up with the shaver as well. Always be sure, to ask the client if you don't know, if they will bump up from this or not. You don't want to cause any irritation. Now we're gonna come in lever open on our 245 clipper, and a little different than what I did on the side. I'm setting in the lever open first. On the side of the taper, like you just seen, I came in close and opened it up notch by notch until we were fully open. But since this is a wider area, I wanted to just set in that bald line first. Sorry, not bald line, guideline, lever open guideline. Then what you're gonna see me do is close up this clipper all the way. And all that means is push the lever so the two blades are closer together, which cuts closer. And then now open it up notch by notch with the lever on the side until we are fully open at the top of this guideline. Very simple, very easy. And after we got rid of the line in between the bald and lever open, we're gonna move on to our one guard with the lever closed. Now again, I'm going at that weight line above just slightly, and then I open it up all the way, and that will directly blend into our undercut, or the length that we established on the sides. Another thing you want to keep note of is with the hair texture like this that tends to bunch up when you come against it, you want to comb and brush it down after every pass of the clipper, because you want to make sure that it is truly blended. Now one thing we had to use that we didn't use on the sides is the half guard, because open didn't blend into the one perfectly. So I'm just coming in with the half guard to get rid of that last weight line, utilizing a lot of the corner of the blade so we don't cause any new lines. Alright, so what's really gonna separate a haircut, as simple as this from everyone else's is the lineup. So we want to make sure that this is the highlight of the haircut. Now what we're gonna do is line up his nape or neck area, and I like to start at the top of the ear. Sometimes I'll establish my guideline at the bottom like I just did, but starting at the top of the ear helps prevent me from taking this area up too high. And then I'll just connect the dots. So I have my bottom of the neckline, my top of the ear line, and then I'll connect those 2 points in the middle. That will most likely or usually give you the sharpest line possible while not cutting off an excess amount of hair in order to achieve it, right? Because a lot of barbers will take this line in too much or take it too high, and the grow back will look crazy. You don't want that. Now on the other side, as you can see, I already did the line, but I'm just cleaning it up. We followed the same exact process, and what this does is frame out the taper and really bring out the detail. Now referring back to what I said at the beginning of the video, a quality haircut all falls back on the prep work of it, right? And to be fair, I don't always prep lineups this way, but my goal with this channel is to teach you techniques that you can apply to your haircuts to elevate them, okay? And if you have time in your service to do this, it's definitely a plus. So reclining the client back, adding some shaving cream, followed up with a warm towel will definitely put you in a position to get a crisp line, because the shave cream will strip the skin of any oils that might get in the way of the lineup. And then what the warm towel will do is relax the hair follicles so they can lay down nicely. And then following that up with some cool air and some hairspray, it's going to give you a nice clean canvas to line up. Now, after wiping away the excess shaving cream, you want to be sure to come in with cool air on the blow dryer and dry it. This is going to prep it for a nice clean line. Again, use cool air, you don't want him to sweat. And then we're going to start in the middle and work towards the corners. My goal is to keep this lineup as low as possible while still allowing it to be sharp and crispy. As you can see, the middle of his lineup is not as dense as the corners, but I don't want to raise it to the most dense part of the middle of the lineup, because then I'm gonna have to push back the haircut all the way across, right? So sometimes you have to work with what you got and make it happen. So we started in the middle, went towards the corners, trying to get this as sharp as possible. Now, lining up the C-cup, I want to give myself reference points just like I did with the Nape line, starting at the top of the C-cup, then going to the bottom and connecting those 2 points in the middle. That's going to allow me to get that nice curve without pushing him back. And my trimmers are zero gapped, but not to the point where they're uncomfortable for the client, because I personally like to pull and drag after pressing in my line. So I'm always sure that my trimmers are able to do that. And now I'm just going over it a couple times to make sure that it truly is sharp. And now coming over to the other side of the lineup, we're going to follow the same exact process, starting in the middle, working towards that corner, and then we'll do the vertical bar and C-cup. And again, this is a lot easier when you prep the lineup well. A lot of times, if you don't take the time to prep the lineup, there's going to be oils just that come from the client's head because they've been living their day, right? Your skin naturally produces oil, but at the same time, that oil kind of gets in the way of the trimmer when you're trying to line it up. Now, let me say this because it's very important. After making sure that the lineup is clean naturally, we want to go ahead and apply enhancements. This is just to elevate the haircut, fill in the light spots, and give them the sharpest possible look. But again, you want to make sure that it's natural without the enhancements, because when they come off, you still want it to look good, okay? I have to preface that for enhancement haters. Anyway, I am using my Tomb 45 and Tomb 45 Sean Cuts Hair card to apply the enhancements. So all I do is place the card right where I lined it up and spray from a good enough distance so I'm not spraying directly in one spot. That's the key. You want it to blend into the hair around it. But I'm spraying it on lightly, and then I'll spray more to darken it up as needed. Alright, you don't want to spray too much at once because it could get really messy to remove and reapply. So spray it on lightly, and again, darken it up little by little. And I like the Sean Cuts Hair card because it has the curve on it, which helps me, apply enhancements to the C-cup as well. But you see, I'm going through the lineup and applying it more just to darken it up a little bit, because his hair is light, so I want the enhancements to match the natural color of his hair. If I was to make this super dark and really make the lineup look black, it wouldn't look good, and that's why I'm using the dark brown Tomb 45 hair color. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And you'll see I'm also spraying behind the enhancements because, again, I want it to blend into the hair behind it. I don't want to spray it right at the line and then the line be darker than everything surrounding it, right? You want it to blend. And now what hair fibers are going to do, this is another form of enhancement, is give it more of a dry, natural look. Because when you spray a liquid enhancement, there's a slight shine to it. But following it up with hair fibers kind of daws it down and makes it look like actual hair. So cocktailing the two together and then relining it is going to give you the best possible look. And the reason you want to reline it after applying the fibers is because there's going to be fibers that got on the skin, and you want to kind of get those off, and really you want the fibers where the hair is at, not on the skin. So relining it is going to go ahead and get rid of those and sharpen everything up. Now to lock in those hair fibers, because unlike the color, they don't stick to the skin, they stick to the hair, and we all know hair moves. The hairspray will allow the fibers to stay in place And now to really take this to a whole nother level, we're going to use the Tune 45 enhancement pencil, alright? This is Tune 45's 3-step enhancement system. The Tune 45 liquid enhancement, the Tune 45 fibers, and the Tune 45 pencil. Together, you'll get the most natural enhancement look that you possibly can get. It's all about applying it right, okay? So you'll see I'm applying the pencil lightly. I don't want this line to be super thick. I want it, once I follow this up with the clipper and trimmer, or with the trimmer and razor, to be like a natural looking ash line. I don't want it to look like an island boy, like I drew it on, okay? So applying it softly is key. And you'll notice I'm using the tan side of the pencil. I find for anybody that has some melanin in their skin, the tan side kind of blends the best. Now, if I'm cutting somebody who's lighter complected, I will use the white side of the pencil just because it looks better on the skin. But the tan side of the pencil, for the most part, looks the most natural on the majority of people. And now you'll see I'm relining it. Now, the reason you want to reline pencil is because it's going to spread it out, right? So I'm coming to the line and pulling away from the hair. This is going to kind of, imagine like drawing it on and then erasing it to kind of blend. This is kind of pulling the color away from the hair and blending it into the skin in a way. And after this, I'll come in with the razor. And what I love about, how we did this enhancement is it matches his hair color. It doesn't look like a different color than the hair behind it, right? He has a light brown hair color naturally, and we applied a light brown hair color enhancement, and it came out really, really good. But again, I'm just trying our best to blend out this line with our trimmer. Because think of a pencil as adding contrast, right? When you go from really light to really dark, it makes whatever's dark pop. Now we're going to come in with our razor. Now when using the razor, you want to stretch the skin in the opposite direction of which you're coming with the razor. So if I'm coming towards the hair, I want to pull the skin away from the hair. This is going to create tension so we don't cut, nick, scrape, cause redness, because all that distracts from the quality of our actual haircut. Now, if you're interested in using these Tune 45 enhancement products, you can tap the link in my description and get yours today. Definitely recommend. But again, this is like the cherry on top, applying the final details to this haircut. And as we finish up this haircut, I just want to remind you about my online training program called the Better Barber Blueprint. If you are a barber who wants to grow, elevate, build your clientele, make sure you get the best possible haircuts, tap the link in the description and join today. But family, this is the haircut. All right, we properly applied enhancements, gave them a nice clean cut. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, hit that like and subscribe button and join my online training program by tapping the link in the description. I hope to see you in the community. Peace.